So hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to the family. If you're old, thank you so much for coming back. So for today's video, I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I pass my exams and how I study for them, because I feel like a lot of us are just told it's time to revise and you're like, what is revision? And I know that sounds crazy, but honestly, I didn't know what revision was until I figured out what revision was. So I'm going to save you all the pain and hustle and help you guys pass your exams in the next 80 days. Hopefully you still have about 80 days or maybe 60, because that's the only way that this method works. If not, it's okay. I'm sure there's a way to save this. You're fine. Just don't struggle, because right now it's March and I believe everyone usually has their exams in June. So there's about 3 months left. You have time. That's what? 30, 60, 90 days. Oh my God, you're so fine. You're fine. You're fine. Don't panic. Okay. So before I tell you guys what's on my notes and what the method is, number one, I'm basically right now I'm in Oxford. I'm not in my own room. I'm in Lala's room because my room has been taken, because that's what Oxford does. We have to move out every single term, whatever. Let's not get into that. But Lala's kind of let me stay in her room for a while I do some studying in Oxford before I go back home. But term is over. So we now have a 7-week break, which is quite long and really exciting. But in that 7-week break, I want to study for at least 5 weeks or so and just get on top of stuff. So my method is called the repetition method, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it and how it works, because it works in layers. Now, how am I qualified to tell you all of this? Let me tell you something, because you don't know nothing, okay? Let me tell you the horror story that I experienced that is called A-levels, okay? I use this method for GCSEs, got my A stars and A's, life was good, I was enjoying it. I used this method for first year of A-levels, I got 3 A's. Woo! I did not use the method in second year because I thought I was just that girl. I thought, I'm good, you know, I can do this without using this stupid method. Ended up getting B's, which is still a good grade, but from all A's to all B's, not good, right? Then in the first year of foundation year, I got a high 2-1. I passed with flying colours because I used the method. First year of university, I did my exams, my prelims, and I got a high 2-1 again. I used the method. Now I'm in second year at Oxford, and I just did my mock exams in January, got my results back. Didn't really revise that much, still use the method, but didn't do as much work as I could have. Still got a 2-1, which is a good grade. For those who don't know like what the university grading system is, it's good. So I've realized the method works. The one time I didn't use it, I didn't get the grades I wanted. So that's how I'm qualified. But anyways, I feel like I've spoken too much. It's been 3 minutes and I still haven't showed you the method. Not good enough, right? So let's move our camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Can you see? Oh, stable. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys exactly what the method is and how you can use it. This is called the repetition method, right? Because I feel like people underestimate how revision should work. Think of it this way. Ariana Grande. If you love Ariana Grande and she's coming to town and she has a new album out, you would never listen to the song one time and then go on stage and try to sing along with her. Oops. That would be awkward because you don't know the song. You haven't revised. You haven't memorized it. You don't know the song, right? So you need to learn the song, and that is the same way that you need to go into your exams. Treat them like your favorite artist, treat them like your favorite song. Learn it, revise it, hear it back and forth, sing along until you know it inside out. So this repetition method works if you have at least 80 days left before your exams. So we're going to pretend that there's 80 days left and that you have 4 subjects, because obviously I have to have some kind of generic form, but you can apply this and change it depending on how many subjects you have. But let's pretend you are taking 4 A-level subjects and you have 80 days left until your exams. So what you're gonna do is, step 1, grab a pen and paper please, because I want you guys to actually take notes and follow along, so I know that you're listening to me or whatever. Let's turn our lighting. Yeah. Okay, so step 1, which we call layer 1. Layer 1 of the method is you need to divide your time for each of your subject between 10 days. 10 to 15 days, but let's just go with 10. 10 days per subject, right? So you need to give each of your subjects 10 days. So subject 1 gets 10, subject 2 gets 10, subject 3 gets 10, subject 4 gets 10. So you have spent 10 days studying and revising each subject 10 days. You have to be so strict with yourself. This is the one thing that let me down when I didn't do this method properly. I'd say, oh, but I love history more, let me just spend an extra 3 days. No, be strict. Each day counts. So spend 10 days on each subject, right? And in total that would be 40 days. You just spent a total of 40 days doing the first layer. Now the first layer you have to do thorough revision. Okay, thorough revision as in depth. You must go in depth with this revision. So for instance, if subject 1 was you doing, I don't know, philosophy and ethics or something, or politics, whatever, and this is your politics book for subject 1, read this back to front, make in-depth notes, read, like, you need to be as in-depth as possible, and do that 4 times for basically each subject, right? So this is layer 1, the repetition method, in-depth, thorough revision, right? Cool. Get to step 2 now, which is layer 2. You've got to spend 5 days on each subject. 5 days on each subject. So 5 days for subject 1, 5 for subject 2, 5 for subject 3, and 5 for subject 4, right? So spend 5 days on each subject. And this time, that's a total of 20 days. So you just spent 40 days on layer 1. Now you're spending 20 days on layer 2. And you go back and rotate. Go back to subject 1, subject 2, and be strict once again. 5 days only. Do not exceed that amount, because this is where you go wrong. Now, this one we call moderate revision, because you're not necessarily reading this back to front again. No, this time you're just skimming. And when you did layer 1, you'd have made full notes, right? In-depth notes, like a page full. This time you're just skimming, and now you're making notes of the notes. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So like, you're no longer making fresh notes that are full length, in-depth, full hand. Now you're making shorter notes of the notes you already made. So just moderate revision, going back through what you already know. Cool? So that takes 20 days. So altogether now, we've already spent 60 days and we've repeated it twice, yeah? Then the third layer, which is my favorite layer because less work, you spend 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days on each subject. 2 to 3 on 2, 2 to 3 on 3, 2 to 3 on 4. So you spend 2 to 3 days on each subject. At this point, you're about a week and a half away from your exams. So you cannot afford to even touch this book at this point. You should already have had those full depth, in-depth notes from the first layer, those semi-in-depth notes from the second layer. At this point, we don't need her. Who is she? Throw her away. Now, you should be relying just on your notes and make these notes into these notes. So now, you will now have like card-sized notes of your main notes, basically. You're now relying on the knowledge that you know, what you've already taken in, because at this point you can't learn anything new. So where are we? This is 5 days on each. 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3. Okay, so yeah, you're on the third layer. You've done 2 to 3. This one we call brief repetition. Are you following along? Follow along now. So this one we call brief repetition, where you've only spent about 8 to 10 days on this one. Okay, so at this point we have spent 40, 20, that's 60, plus 10, that's 70 days. 70 days have been spent doing the repetition method. You've gone from thorough, let me show you, you've gone from thorough to moderate to brief, and you spent 40, 60, and about 10 here, and you spent 10 days each, 5 days each, 2 to 3 days here. And then the last method, which is not even part of the method, is just skimming the night before, running through, and nothing else, because at this point you have taken it in, you have learnt this song, okay? You've gone through the lyrics, you've sang them back with a cappella, without instrumentals, you've gone through it, you know how to do it, you've listened to it with a track, you can sing it alone, you know the lyrics. That's how you've got to treat this. So at this point, the repetition method, it's in your brain, okay? And what I'd recommend you do with the last 10 days, because as you can see, 40, 60 plus 10, that's 70, right? So we've got 70 days that we've spent doing the repetition method. The last thing you should do in the last 10 days, which is the part that I enjoy, if I can find my little notes for you guys. Where do they go? Oh, here they are. So the last part for me, I say, do mind maps, listen to lectures, teach a friend, talk to your parents, teach your sisters, just like talk about it. No longer do it as you're reading and learning new things, just go through what you already know. At this point, you're just consolidating. You already know it. You need to believe in yourself. You know this, you've got this, you can do this. And I learnt this method from this book called How to Ace Your A-Levels. This is not my method. I learned it from a book and I've been using it ever since, and it has done me well, apart from the one time, second year of A-Levels. We move on. But yeah, this is what I'd recommend you do, because honestly speaking, there's no better way of getting prepared for exams than to just go over and over and over and over again. Now, if you guys want me to do a video on how to actually revise, as in what to do in the 10 days, 5 days, 2 days, let me know. Happy to do that. But I didn't want to patronize you guys in case you're like, wait, we know how to revise, we just don't know what system to use. I didn't want to be here like, this is how you revise, this is how you take notes. But if you want that, let me know. Your girl is happy to be at your service. But yeah, I hope that helps. I'm gonna start my own revision because now I'm procrastinating. But yeah, I'm in Oxford for the next 4 to 5 days. I'm gonna be here, just do a study break, little like just time off, just be in Oxford without the Oxford work, you know, it's quite nice. And then I'm gonna go home on Friday and take 6 weeks off, like for the break, but still study, of course. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm gonna go. Bye.